Imagine this. You wake up to the sound of an alarm, not because your body craves the morning light, but because a machine tells you it's time. You scroll through a screen before your eyes fully adjust, consuming fragments of information designed to hijack your attention. You rush through a routine: coffee, commute, work, each step dictated by schedules and systems you didn't create. At the end of the day, you collapse into a chair, too exhausted to think, too numb to feel, and too distracted to wonder, is this really living? Or have I become a cog in a machine I don't even understand? Here's the unsettling paradox. We live in an age of unprecedented freedom, yet we've never felt more enslaved. We have more tools, more choices, more opportunities than any generation before us. Yet we move through life like automatons, programmed to produce, consume, and repeat. What happened to the vibrant, unpredictable, messy essence of being human? Why does it feel like we've traded our souls for efficiency, our creativity for convenience, our depth for distraction? The great question isn't just how modern life turned us into machines. It's why we allowed it to happen. Why do we willingly surrender our humanity to systems that demand uniformity? Why do we chase productivity at the cost of presence, connection, and meaning? And most importantly, what would it take to break free? This isn't just a critique of modern society. It's an exploration of the invisible forces that shape our thoughts, our behaviors, and our very identities. It's a call to confront the machine within and to rediscover what it means to be truly alive. The transformation of humans into machines isn't accidental. It's the result of a perfect storm of psychological, philosophical, and societal forces. At its core, this shift is driven by our innate desire for control and predictability. Carl Jung once warned that the modern world's obsession with rationality and order comes at the cost of our deeper, more chaotic human nature. We've suppressed the wild, creative, and irrational parts of ourselves in favor of efficiency, creating a fragmented psyche that feels alienated from its own essence. Friedrich Nietzsche saw this coming over a century ago. He warned of the rise of the last man, a creature so consumed by comfort and convenience that it loses the will to strive, to create, to suffer meaningfully. Nietzsche's prophecy feels eerily accurate today. We've traded the struggle for greatness for the ease of mediocrity, opting for the safety of routines over the risks of self-discovery. The modern world rewards conformity, not individuality. And in doing so, it strips us of our humanity. Arthur Schopenhauer, too, understood the dangers of living a life dictated by external forces. He argued that most people live in a state of constant striving, chasing desires implanted by society rather than their own inner truths. This endless cycle of wanting and consuming, he believed, turns us into slaves to our own impulses, reducing life to a mechanical pursuit of fleeting pleasures. But perhaps the most chilling insight comes from Aldous Huxley, who foresaw a world where people would love their oppression, where they would be controlled not by force, but by distraction and pleasure. In Brave New World, he painted a dystopia where humans are pacified by entertainment, numbed by comfort, and stripped of their capacity for critical thought. Sound familiar? The hidden problem, then, is not just the systems we've built. It's the way these systems exploit our deepest psychological vulnerabilities. We crave certainty, so we submit to routines. We fear insignificance, so we chase productivity. We dread loneliness, so we drown in digital noise. In our quest to avoid discomfort, we've become prisoners of our own making. The consequences of this mechanization are not always visible, but they are profound. On a personal level, it manifests as a creeping sense of emptiness, a feeling that no matter how much we achieve or consume, something vital is missing. Psychologists call this anhedonia, the inability to feel joy. But it's more than that. It's the erosion of our ability to connect with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us. We've become so focused on output that we've forgotten how to simply be. Neurologically, this lifestyle takes a toll. Our brains, wired for novelty and connection, are instead bombarded with repetitive tasks, shallow interactions, and endless streams of information. This constant overstimulation triggers stress responses, leading to burnout, anxiety, and a pervasive sense of disconnection. We're not just tired, we're detached. living in a state of chronic dissociation where even our emotions feel automated. Culturally, the consequences are even more insidious. As Jean-Paul Sartre observed, when we live inauthentically, when we conform to societal expectations at the expense of our true selves, we fall into what he called bad faith. We become actors in a play we didn't write, performing roles that feel increasingly hollow. This collective inauthenticity breeds a society of strangers, where genuine connection is replaced by transactional relationships and superficial interactions. Or still, this mechanization perpetuates itself. The more we conform, the more we reinforce the systems that demand conformity. The more we numb ourselves with distractions, the harder it becomes to break free. It's a vicious cycle, one that leaves us feeling powerless, isolated, and trapped. But here's the unsettling truth. We're not just victims of this system, we're its architects. Every time we prioritize productivity over presence, every time we choose convenience over creativity, every time we silence our inner voice to fit in, we contribute to the machine. And in doing so, we lose a little more of ourselves. Breaking free from this mechanized existence requires a radical shift in perspective, one that challenges the very foundations of how we live. It begins with a simple but profound realization. You are not a machine. You are not meant to be optimized, quantified, or controlled. You are a living, breathing, deeply complex being, capable of growth, creativity, and connection. The first step to reclaiming your humanity is to reject the idea that your worth is tied to your productivity. This rebellion starts internally. Carl Jung spoke of the importance of shadow work, the process of confronting the parts of ourselves we've repressed or ignored. These are the messy, emotional, irrational aspects of our psyche that modern life tries to suppress. By embracing these parts, we begin to reintegrate our fragmented selves, rediscovering the depth and richness of our humanity. Externally, breaking free means resisting the systems that demand conformity. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote extensively about the power of meaning in the face of suffering. He argued that even in the most oppressive circumstances, we retain the freedom to choose our response. In modern life, this means choosing to live intentionally, to say no to the endless demands of productivity, to carve out space for reflection, and to prioritize what truly matters. Practical steps can include setting boundaries with technology, creating rituals that foster presence, like meditation or journaling, and seeking out activities that ignite your creativity and passion. It also means cultivating relationships that are rooted in authenticity rather than utility. These actions may seem small, but they are revolutionary in a world that values efficiency over humanity. History is filled with examples of those who broke free from societal expectations. Artists, philosophers, and ordinary people who dared to live differently. They remind us that the path to freedom is not easy, but it is worth it. The rebellion begins with a single act of defiance, choosing to live as a human, not a machine. The ultimate truth is this: the machine is not out there, it's within us. It's the part of us that craves control, that fears uncertainty, that seeks validation from external systems. It's the voice that tells us we're not enough unless we're productive, unless we're achieving, unless we're conforming. But this voice is not who we are. It's a construct, a product of the world we've built and the stories we've been told. The final, most powerful realization is that we have the power to dismantle this machine, not by destroying the systems around us, but by reclaiming the humanity within us. This is not a call to abandon modernity or retreat from society. It's an invitation to live more consciously, to infuse our lives with intention, creativity, and connection. It's about finding the balance between being in the world and not of it. Jean-Paul Sartre once wrote, "Man is condemned to be free." This freedom is both our burden and our salvation. It means we have the power to choose how we live, how we think, how we relate to the world. It means we can reject the mechanization of our lives and embrace the messy, beautiful, unpredictable reality of being human. The journey to reclaiming our humanity is not a linear one. It's a process of trial and error, of falling and rising, of confronting our fears and embracing our imperfections. But with each step, we move closer to a life that is not dictated by external forces, but guided by our inner truth. So, as you stand at the crossroads of this realization, ask yourself, will you continue to live as a machine, or will you dare to be human? Will you choose the safety of conformity or the freedom of authenticity? The choice is yours, and it is the most important one you will ever make.